Hello, this is David Hoffman, filmmaker, about to tell you a story about photography, about photographs. I'm nuts about photographs. I present them on my community pull-down menu on my channel homepage every day, just about. Photographs that I've collected. I've collected photographs since I was a boy. They mostly were in photo albums like this one. So I'm going to just show you a few pages from this photo album. One says, X marks the spot of my first year in school. Notice the shadow on the right side of the screen because I'm going to tell you about that. All right. Here's another one. Beauties, aren't they, is what it says. And it's got a woman, attractive woman, on her back porch with fish. The back porch, very important. At the time, snapshot photography, you couldn't shoot indoors because there wasn't enough light. These are called snapshots. They're clearly amateurs. I just love them. Here's one. Did you say Bear Valley? My. And it shows a really good looking woman with her bare legs at a time when you didn't show your bare legs because it was not proper. Well, I bought hundreds of these albums. I bought them because they were amateur, because they gave me a sense of history unlike professional photography. And I began to collect them in categories that I noticed when I was young that fascinated me. Kids with guns, real guns, posed outside in front of the house. People drinking alcohol, big deal, particularly women, drinking alcohol, getting loose, if you will. People in front of their houses, as I said. Just look at some of these wonderful moments where people get out in front of the house and take a picture. Taking pictures because the picture captured the moment. It went in a photo album. In my dad's day, we had slideshows. When I went on a vacation to New England with my family, my dad took pictures, and when we came back, he would invite over the neighbors, and everybody would sit around and look at a slideshow. The photograph, the amateur photograph, still had meaning, and there were very good amateur photographers. And then there was my car, sitting in my car, standing in front of my car, my first car. Many photos fascinated me, and from that came an epiphany, my first epiphany. Women. Lots of women took the car, left the house, went out with other women, and did different things than they would have done if men were around. These were kind of outings, and the outings required the camera. In fact, it wasn't the same kind of outing if there wasn't a camera, and the camera was largely the Kodak Brownie, invented by Kodak around 1900. Many people bought them, millions of people bought them, and those who didn't have the money borrowed them. And these Kodaks, what you did was you took the pictures and then you sent the camera with the film to Kodak, who realized the film was where the money was. So they were going to process it for you, and they were going to make it extremely easy. They had these phrases, which became advertising phrases. You push the button, we'll do the rest. Another one was, it's not an event unless you photograph it. That's key. It's not an event unless you photograph it. And then they had the Kodak girl. They showed lots of women because women were adopting this camera and using this camera on these outings to have second epiphany, all kinds of fun, different fun than they would have had men taken the picture. They began to do outrageous stuff. They became sassy. They kind of broke rules. They acted like they were getting married. Two women were getting married. And they were extraordinarily affectionate to each other, physically affectionate in ways I noticed when men took the picture, the women never were. How do I know that I'm right about this? The shadow. I began to notice that whenever I saw that shadow, I knew a woman had taken the picture, and when I looked at the pose, it was different. They were having fun. They were goofing around. They were being sloppy. They were eating. They were showing things about themselves that they never showed to men. This was kind of a breakthrough of freedom, which in some cases stuck it directly to the things men controlled, such as marriage. I got so good at this that even if the shadow wasn't there, I knew this was women photographing women. And one of the things they did was cross-dressing. That was extremely popular at that time. Huge amount of photographs in my collection are cross-dressing women, where some are acting as men and some are acting as women. Okay, so of course now photographs are massive. They always said photographs were going to die, you know. When film came out, who's going to take a picture anymore? We have film, particularly home 8mm film. Then when television came out and video came out, who's going to want to take a picture? There's video. And when the phone manufacturers began to put a camera in a phone and charge you 25 cents for that, sending you that picture, everybody said, wait a minute, this is a phone. What are you putting a camera in it for? Of course, now we all have phones which are more camera than they are phone. So the photo is endearing. It lasts. It's three-dimensional. Great photographs, and amateurs are great. You look at the moment in time, but you see deeper. You see what, in your own mind, what happened before and what happened after. You kind of imagine more to the story than that moment, that iconic moment shows. And of course, photographs become iconic. So I collected these albums. I got quite a few of them. eBay comes out. I really start collecting photographs. I write people, I say, why are you selling your album? Because it doesn't mean anything, they say. Great Aunt Josephine in Yosemite. Lewis and wife by trees. That's what it says. Now we have number 609452, thousands of them on our hard drives. Going to be the same thing for the next generation. It's meaningless unless we get the story around the photograph, or the photograph is iconic. So these albums, $5, $10, $25, $50, $500, $1,000. Who the hell's buying a photograph album for $1,000? I write the number one purchaser, because I can't buy them anymore. They're too expensive. And she's working for the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, who's collecting amateur photographs because they see it as history. It is history. It's a unique view of history, kind of like the history I feel as a filmmaker. I don't care about the important people and the important set up the tripod and shoot the event. I care about ordinary citizens and the lives that they live, told in an extraordinary way. So then I decide, okay, I can't afford that anymore. I'm going to collect junky photographs that are awful. And they're selling on eBay. Awful photograph, out of focus telephone pole. Clothesline with clothes on it from 1952. This is our house, and you just see a house. No, but who's going to want that? Well, they start going up, $50, $100. So I write the guy who's outbidding me, and he's in Australia, and he also collects horrible photographs. Where am I today? I'm trying to shoot my own cell phone photographs in iconic ways. This is a moment, it means a lot to me, means a lot to my children. Maybe it'll mean something to you, even if you're not from my family. Hopefully it'll mean something to the future. So there's an awareness by me of the value, the enormous intrinsic value of ordinary folks' lives done in extraordinary ways. Are women still using cameras with other women? Are they different when they take pictures with other women present and not men? I don't know. I'd love to hear from you about that one. Thank you for hearing me out on this. Thank you for watching my photographs on my community pull-down menu on my homepage channel on YouTube. And tell me what you think. Take care.